Personally, I believe that unforgiveness is holding a person or an event only in that negative or that traumatic. That is the lens that you see that person or that event from, and you refuse or cannot see anything past that. You cannot see that person as a human who makes mistakes, and you can't see them as being able to overcome how you see them. You can't see them as something different at all. Forgiveness is allowing other people to misunderstand you, which is very true. Not everybody has the same heart as you, the same thought patterns, the same life, and so you show compassion to people when they don't understand where you're coming from, where there can be a lot of hurt feelings. So it can mean to surrender your control or your hold over the situation or the event. It doesn't mean that the event was fair. The very fact that you have to forgive in the first place means that something happened to you that wasn't fair. Someone did you wrong and they weren't supposed to. They didn't realize whether it could have been intentional, unintentional. The very act of forgiving means that you were hurt and you have to forgive. It's really about your own heart. I made these two little stick figures. Say this person is mean, cruel, they don't see their anger. And this is you. If you are forgiving and merciful, you try to understand, this opens a door for God's blessing, regardless of what this person is doing. However, if you have a person who is mean, cruel, they're consistently whatever, and then you're also being like, I don't want to forgive, I'll forgive them when they're nice, they deserve what they get, this is just an open door for Satan. And it's just two people who are just being negative and mean, and it's not helping anything. So you may need to forgive or let go of that situation multiple times a day. You need to be willing to forgive before you can forgive, which might sound silly, but if you don't want to forgive that person, you think they deserve it, you're not going to be able to forgive or let the situation go. You're going to have to humble yourself and actively show compassion towards that person. And if you treat them worse or differently than you would treat someone else, even if it's to protect yourself, I'm not 100% sure if you've truly forgiven them, because you're still behaving in a way that is trying to protect yourself from this perceived view of who they are instead of who they are right now. So I think boundaries is if a person is repeatedly doing something to harm you and you have to say, okay, we won't talk about this subject anymore, or we have to agree to disagree and we just won't go there. We're putting this behind us, but we know that these are our triggers, so we need to be aware of that. As opposed to, well, you know what, every time I talk to them about this, they blow up in my face, so I'm just never going to talk to them. I don't want them to get mad at me, so I'm just not going to speak to them at all. I think those two are very, very different things. Also, you have to check your own heart and make sure that your expectations of them are the same expectations you can hold for yourself. So for myself, for example, I just wanted this person to be nice. And so one day I was asking myself, like, okay, what do you think nice is? And so I listed, I don't know, let's say 4 qualities of what nice is. And I was like, okay, how many of those qualities do I possess? And turns out I only possessed 1. So all these other things that I was wanting them to be, I could not hold that for myself. And that humbled me so quickly. And it made me realize, like, oh, maybe my standards need to change. Maybe I need to realize that this person really isn't that bad. Or maybe that my standards are too high. Because that's being hypocritical. And it's not fair to that person or to yourself. If you hold this person to this really high standard and they can't meet it, all you're doing is setting your own self up for disappointment. I spoke with somebody and they told me that I was self-righteous, which it was true. I'm working on that now. I prayed about it and I was like, God, I need your help because I can't do this on my own. And so I did feel my heart soften, but it didn't mean that I don't do the work. So when those feelings come up about, a person or a situation or whatever, I've had to write down the situation from multiple points of view, say different mantras to help me to not just look at it from my narrow point of view. When those feelings come up, I've just noticed that over time, the more I agree with them, they don't go away. But the more I respond to them with some compassion and some humility, the less those feelings have a hold on me. And it doesn't mean that they're easy, but it's better than just, this person did this, blah, blah, blah. It's better than just getting sucked into it. Some of the mantras that I've been saying to, help me to forgive, that situation does not show all of that person. That is not the only part of that person. There is more to that person than that situation. I surrender my need to be right. They did the best they could with the circumstances that they had in the moment. They are fully allowed to be human. They are fully allowed to make mistakes. They are fully allowed to intentionally make mistakes, because I have intentionally made wrong choices myself. So, if the roles were reversed, I would want compassion too. I am sorry for judging you based on that moment. And that's a really good one, is surprisingly saying sorry to the person, because when you're holding on to unforgiveness, you are essentially judging them. And so I think apologizing, even if I don't think you have to say it to the person's face. They may be dead. They may not be in the same area as you or whatever. But if you can say it in your heart and say, I am so sorry for judging you based on that situation, and you mean it, ooh, child, that can free you up from a lot. I made some lists. So I'm hoping that with this forgiveness, I will become more compassionate and more loving. Yeah, that's just kind of the journey that I'm on, what I've been learning. I hope that it helps somebody else out there, and that it can maybe open a door for God to bless you as well. One last thing, I completely forgot. There's something in the Bible, I don't know the exact thing, but it says that Satan is the accuser of the brethren. And if you shorten that down to Satan is the accuser, he's the one who holds faults, who judges, who is constantly putting people down, showing you, what's wrong with you, what you need to improve on, but not in a self-improvement way, but just in a negative way. And when I realized that, and I was like, oh my God, it's Satan's job to judge. That's what he does. But God doesn't do that. Jesus doesn't do that. He's trying to save us from ourselves always. And I don't want to be doing Satan's work. I don't want to be sitting there judging people and having a bad heart and being really just negative. And it only comes back onto me if I'm holding on to unforgiveness. That's also a really big thing that I've been working on. Like, you've given your life to Jesus. Jesus said, judge or you will not, and you will not be judged. Don't condemn and you won't be condemned. Show compassion, show mercy. You're blessed for it. It doesn't matter what they've done, if they say sorry. And I think if you can't, because right now I'm having a hard time letting go of some things, so just pray if you can't, It doesn't mean that all the feelings are just gonna, up and go away, but, just start small. And I would think, praying for them and praying for yourself is a really good place to start. So that's it. Okay, now I'm done. Okay, bye.